It's Lucas and Sam with another First Light update video. Sam will talk to you about what's happening with the Sky Islands.
Yeah, so Sky Islands, we thought about it for a while. We used to have normal islands like in the ocean, but we've converted to Sky Islands for a couple of reasons. First off, it's just cool, looks nice. And secondly, it means that we can basically not load chunks that are outside the island, so it helps on performance as well. So you can see there it just gets faces rendered around the side. The underside of the island isn't entirely rendered, so that helps a bit because you'll never see that except in our videos. Next thing on the list, so that we don't forget, I've simplified the terrain generation a little bit. I just basically pulled out a few extra operations that were happening in there that weren't really doing anything for us, basically, and found that it still looks just as nice. But, you know, little impact with that.
Trees are now bigger. Sam made them just a bit bigger than they used to be. They were big and then they were small and now they're big again.
Yeah, I made them smaller a while back to make the world feel bigger, but it just made the trees look stupid.
Yeah.
So,
with the current player perspective, I think they're about right.
yeah, the bigger trees just feel a bit more grand as you're walking through, as you can see. You get that nice thick sort of canopy above you. So it's a nice feel, what we've got going on at the moment.
Castles.
Another thing, castles, yeah. Castles, if I can find where the castle is.
Each island has its own castle.
Where's it
so,
gone?
over
Yeah.
there. So, terrain kind of gets modified so that the castle has a place to live.
Yeah, you can see it's all raised up around the base of the castle so that it sits flat on the ground. Now, I know that doesn't look 100% perfect. I might do some work on that, make it a bit more irregular, but for now it does the job.
Very temporary solution, just so that they're not floating in midair like they were for a few weeks if you've been following us on Twitter.
Now, this castle design is pretty ugly, I must admit. We haven't really put any effort into actually making proper designs. They're all just placeholders pretty much.
Yeah, all the models for the, you know, each component, like the walls and the doors, they're all fairly placeholdery.
Yeah.
And also the overall design models as well.
And we've set it up so that we can use the Magica voxel program to build the models for our castles. So we use that to build the overall layout of the castle, and then smaller models for the individual components like walls and doors and that sort of thing. So that makes it really easy for us to make new varieties. So that's cool.
Yeah, and then we just load in. They have a format XRAW, which is basically just a binary format which contains all the voxel data. We load that in and turn it into real voxels in the world. Put it into the chunk data and away it goes. Really?
Yeah. So pretty plain at the moment, but the system's all there. We just haven't got around to making it look pretty yet.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Next on our list of things to talk about is the on-screen display, which I've been working on a bit. So if Sam just presses F9 and not F11, because that will be not very good. Hopefully, this is getting recorded, and you can see that we have some statistics. Text rendering is happening. We've actually got a full layout manager system. We can anchor different components to other components and align them differently.
So if we were to resize the window, which we won't, But
Not that you would notice anyway, maybe.
yeah, I don't know. I don't want to try that. But if we were to resize the window, all the text would remain in its respective corners. So everything's adjusted automatically. It's going to be a nice system to work with, I think.
Yeah, it should make the in-game menus and inventory and all that sort of stuff really nice and simple to manage and work with. So that's been done, and as you can see, it works. Still a few more things to do, like interaction. Haven't finished that yet, but it's definitely on its way. Screenshots. I added in some code to allow us to take screenshots. It's pretty basic, not much code at all, but saves a PNG file or a JPEG, I can't remember, straight out of the game. That way we don't have to use snipping tool or whatever to capture a screenshot to post for you guys.
Another thing that I've been working on a little bit, I've worked on some performance optimizations for the game. We've needed to do some of that for a long time. A large part of what I've done was CPU side performance. We were getting considerable lag in world generation. So what I've done is set it up so that the chunks are generated in a separate thread, which takes away all of that lag, really. And another fun thing we found was that our physics timing code was not wrong, but it was in the wrong place. And it was basically meaning our physics updates were being performed for the wrong time interval. And that meant movement was off. It was
movement was
glitchy.
jerky, which we thought was just down to our rendering not being very efficient and it, glitching out or generating new chunks. But once we had all that running in separate threads, it kind of was obvious that it was just something to do with our movement code. And just moving one line to another spot basically fixed that, I think. So now panning and moving around is nice and smooth.
Now, another thing that's helped our performance, but admittedly it's not something we've done, we purchased a couple of new graphics cards just yesterday. Been thinking about it for a long time because our systems are ancient and we were running old GT440s from
we would have built
8 years ago
these computers would have been 8 years ago, and we just haven't upgraded anything. I mean, they were good at the time, so the CPU and memory and all is perfectly fine, but the graphics cards have become a bit dated.
So before we were seeing absolutely terrible frame rates, like full screen, we were getting about 20 FPS, which is just unacceptable.
20 FPS max, yeah.
Now we're getting 80 to 100, which is
so Sam got a NVIDIA 1050, GTX 1050, and I went and got an AMD. Now, not that I'm an AMD person, but one of us had to get an AMD card so we could test compatibility, because there is differences in compatibility between the two. And luckily, our code all works fine on both of them, but I've got the, I don't know what it's called, RX 550. Okay. And it runs decently fast, almost as fast as Sam's, but not quite. But it was cheaper, so. Also, Mac performance. It is bad, very bad. 10 frames a second in a window, full screen. Don't even try. Admittedly, I only have the Intel Iris graphics, which has known issues with OpenGL. What's happening there?
Let's just see if that settles down.
There we go.
Okay,
cool.
all good.
The card has known incompatibilities with OpenGL, and not a whole lot I can do. I'll try and get access to a Mac with a proper dedicated card. Hopefully it will be fairly good, but aside from the graphics card side of things, the actual rest of the game all works perfectly fine. Yeah.
So we made a small announcement the other day on our Twitter, if you follow us.
Yes, we did.
If you don't follow us, follow us.
Yes,
That'll
follow us
be
on Twitter.
Awesome. That's the place to keep up with everything, all the updates.
That's where we've been posting. A lot of stuff is too small to write a whole blog post on our website for, so yeah, we've been posting lots of screenshots and stuff to Twitter. That's a good way to keep everyone updated.
Anyway, we made an announcement. We've created our game studio, Chromatic Junkyard Studios. So there's a Twitter account for that as well, if you have a look. We've set up a website, helps being web developers.
Yes.
We figured it was time to just have a real name for us rather than just First Light.
Yeah. Or our web development company, which is kind of completely irrelevant.
Yeah. So that's that. Go and take a look if you like.
We had a question about the release date.
Yeah. So, sorry, not yet.
Yeah, we don't really know. We're obviously working as hard as we can whenever we've got time, but we are real people and we have lives and real jobs. So we'll work on it in our spare time as much as we can, and we'll keep everyone updated.
As soon as we know a date, you'll know. But
yeah,
for now we just can't say, unfortunately. But it will happen.
It definitely will. We're not going to
determined.
drop this.
So that's about it for today. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you very
you've
much.
Found it not too boring. We
Yes.
just wanted to share a quick video on what we've been up to lately. We really ought to keep these videos coming regularly. It's just easy not to, so
Yeah.
that's the problem. But thank you. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already.
Follow us
We
on Twitter.
will try and keep posting videos. And yeah, Twitter is the place to be for those regular updates. You can ask us questions about the game, or
Yeah, interact. We are people, so we
Yeah.
can talk to you and answer questions,
and
chat about stuff.
share with your friends. Get the word out.
Get the word out.
We're excited, and we hope you are. So
Yeah, should be cool. So, thank you for watching.
thanks. See ya.